everybody, it's Emily at Arc Schooling, and it is time for the last book haul of the year. So I've hardly purchased anything since November, and so almost everything in this stack was a Christmas present. So I'm going to start with the things that I bought or acquired before Christmas, which are really very few. So I'm going to start with my nightworms, because my December nightworms came at the beginning of the month, and the theme for December was Winter Frightmare. And here's the bookmark that it came with. Here's the back. And the books that we got, we have The Darkest Night. This is a short story collection, and it says chilling stories from the biggest names in horror. These are all books to do with like winter solstice, winter time, winter themed stories. It says it's an advent calendar of short holiday horror stories perfect for the darkest nights of the year. So we have Josh Mallerman, Rachel Harrison, Darcy Coates, Christy DeMeester, Christopher Golden, Eric LaRocca, Jamie Flanagan, and more. I want to say, yeah, Nat Cassidy has a story in here. This sounds like a lot of fun. Then we also got a novella, Cold Snap, by Lindy Ryan. I have no idea what this is, but it just sounds like a really good wintry read. And it is really short. This is not even quite 100 pages. It's just over 100 pages. So I might try to do this before the end of the year. I don't even know what this is exactly. It just says, 2 weeks ago, Christine Sinclair's husband slipped off the roof while hanging Christmas lights, and he fell to his death on the front lawn. Desperate to escape her guilt and grief, Christine packs up her 15-year-old son and the family cat and flees to the cabin they reserved deep in the remote Pennsylvania wilds to wait out the holidays. It isn't long before Christine begins to hear strange noises coming from the forest. When she spots a horned figure watching from between frozen branches, Christine assumes it's just a forest animal, a moose maybe, since the property manager warned her about them, said they'd stomp a body so deep into the snow nobody would find it till spring. But moose don't walk upright like the shadowy figure does. And they don't call Christine's name with her dead husband's voice. This just sounds like it'd be a fun, like, end of year read if you're looking for something short. I have been struggling with the Morbid Curiosities cannibalism unit because when I wrote it out, there should have been 3 weeks for one read aloud, which is Unwind, and then 2 weeks for a second literature book. And so I started writing it. I got my 3 weeks of Unwind done, and now I have 2 weeks of an empty space, and I could not figure out what book belonged here. When Regina and I did it, we ended up spreading out Unwind longer because of various things. It just took us longer to get through. So we never needed that second book. But writing it out, I'm like, okay, what do I put here? And I have been searching for a right book, like what goes here. And out of desperation, I bought this. I even went to Barnes & Noble to purchase this so that I could get it faster and have it. And then I was told by somebody that actually there is some pretty graphic stuff happening in this that would be inappropriate for teens, so I ended up shelving it again. But I have it. So I gotta read it. And that is Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. I've been terrified of this book, if I'm being honest, and I was not sure that I wanted to put it in the unit, although I do know that it has got a lot of like really interesting philosophical stuff in it that would make for a really interesting discussion. Granted, the graphicness makes it not appropriate for that, but I'm going to read it this year because it would qualify for at least 2 of the Build Your Library Reading Challenge prompts, because it's a translated book and it is a book written by a woman. It's a book written by a Latin American author. So like there's a bunch of different things I could count this towards. but I gotta conquer my fear, because this book is about cannibalism, obviously, but it is also like really stark and graphic and upsetting. So I don't know. I've been kind of on the fence, but I'm gonna make myself read it. And then I purchased On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century by Timothy Snyder, but I specifically wanted the graphic edition. This is a graphic novel version of this book, and it's stunning. Like, I really wanted this specific copy. I don't know yet if I'm gonna read this. I'm probably gonna read it to myself first. This is probably gonna happen soon-ish, but I'm possibly gonna do this as part of our civics. I just don't know when we'll get to it. Probably not this year. I have too much this year, but maybe next year. And then the last book that I bought for myself came on Christmas Eve. I really did not think it would. I pre-ordered it and I figured it would show up eventually, but it got here on Christmas Eve, which I was like, no, I didn't need it yet. You didn't have to send somebody. But I bought The Resurrectionist by A. Ray Dunlap, and this book looks gorgeous. Like, look at this cover. I'm obsessed with this cover. But this is a like Gothic horror about a Victorian era like surgeon turned grave robber. Like, does that not just sound like the most Emily book ever? Like, I really want to read this right now, but I'm gonna try to wait because I have other things that I wanted to get to before the end of the year, so I don't really read this just yet. But this is gonna happen sooner than later because it just sounds amazing. So very much looking forward to reading this. Okay, everything else in this stack was a present. So I'm going to start with Spy Family because this was actually an accidental gift because Riley had requested more volumes of this, so my husband bought like a set, I think of like 12 of them, and Riley already had the first one, so now this is my copy because Riley has been really wanting me to read Spy Family. So I'm going to be getting to this soon because I'm planning to do a Kids Choose My TBR video in January, and Riley has already said that this is on that TBR. So I'll be reading this soon. I actually don't really know what this is, besides it's about a family of spies. Like, that's all I know. I've picked up a new hyperfixation hobby. Not really new, but it's newer because I haven't done it in a long time, but I've been like obsessively cross-stitching since October, and it's really helped with a lot of my stress and anxiety. I like to cross-stitch while I listen to audiobooks, and so I was like, oh, I've been working on like a couple projects, but I'm gonna need new things soon because I've been like working obsessively through these projects. So I asked for a couple different things, and this is what my husband got me. And I'm so excited about this. This is Creepy Cross Stitch. Okay, so these are the cutest little projects. I'm gonna see if I can find some pictures for you. Like the ones that I'm the most excited about. I can make a Baba Yaga house. Like, look at it. Look how cute that is. And this is what the pattern pages look like. So you can see, like, it's all color coded. Here's the colors down here, and then they just like, I also really like this little welcome home with the little ghost dog with the ghost. Oh, so cute. There's like some spooky rooms. I might make this little rat for Regina because she really likes rats. But yeah, it's just like the cutest little projects. I'm obsessed. I cannot wait to make some of these. I have Looking for Smoke. This is by K.A. Cobell. This is a book I've been really curious about. I know it is by an Indigenous author. This is a YA, like, I don't know if I want to call it horror because I think this is actually more of like a mystery thriller kind of a thing. But it has to do with a character who lives on the Blackfeet reservation, and she feels like an outsider, and then somebody gets murdered. I think it's like a murder mystery. I'm trying really hard not to read the synopsis because I don't really want, whenever there's a book like this, I don't want to know too much because I feel like that'll give things away in the plot, and I want to go in as blind as possible. So, but it's Indigenous, it's a like murder mystery, it's YA. I'm really interested in it. I have Darkly by Marisha Pessl. I now own like 3 of Marisha Pessl's books, and I've read none of them, but they all sound so interesting. So this one, I think, has to do with a game. This is also YA, by the way. It says, "What would you kill for?" And it's about like a game designer, and I think that they have to do some kind of a game to, I don't know if it's to win a competition or something. I, again, don't really want to read the synopsis because I feel like it's going to give something away. So I don't really know how to describe this besides it's like a YA kind of murder thriller with like game things happening. I don't know more than that. Then we have a book that I have been so excited to read. This is The Ministry of Time by Hallian Bradley. This is science fiction and time travel. And I love a good time travel story so much. Like, I really want to read this. It says, an ingeniously imagined, hilarious romp through time, space, and the human heart that announces an exhilarating new voice in contemporary fiction. It's like near future scenario and like time hopping. What more do you need to know? Like, I really want to read this. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. It just sounds like such a fun time. I have Eleanor of Avignon. This is by Elizabeth Delosier. This is a historical fiction story. It's set in France around the time of the Black Death, and we're following Eleanor of Avignon, who is a like midwife and healer. I don't really know too much more than that, but I love reading medieval historical fiction, especially when it has to do with like characters who are just ordinary people living relatively average lives. Like, I want to know what life was like for everyone in that time, not just the nobility and the royals and that sort of thing. So like, this really called out to me, and I'm very interested in reading it. I have The Impusium by Olga Tokarzuk, and this is also translated. I think this is translated from the original Polish, possibly. And this is a health resort horror story, which really spoke to me. I am fascinated by the whole concept of like the health resorts that they used to have, like Kellogg's and that kind of thing, where they would try out all these wacky cures and things in order to like heal you from whatever your ailment was, whether it was just like you were dying of consumption or tuberculosis or something. You could go to one of these places and they would like try to fix you. And so this is set in 1913, and it's about a young Pole who is suffering from tuberculosis, and they arrive in the village of Gorbersdorf, a health resort in the Silesian mountains. Every evening the residents gather to imbibe the hallucinogenic local liquor and debate the great issues of the day: monarchy or democracy? Do devils exist? Are women born inferior? War or peace? Meanwhile, disturbing things are happening in the guest house and the surrounding hills. Someone or something seems to be watching, attempting to infiltrate this cloistered world. Little does this newcomer realize as he tries to unravel both the truths within himself and the mystery of the sinister forces beyond, that they have already chosen their next target. Does that not sound awesome? Like, I'm so curious about this book. I have Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books by Kirsten Miller. And I have not read anything by this author before, but I do follow them on social media, and I've been really, really interested in reading this. This is a book about somebody who sets up a free little library full of banned books in their like neighborhood when one of their neighbors goes full Karen and starts banning all the books. So this sounds like a timely read, and it is a book about banned books, so this will count towards my Build Your Library Reading Challenge. Another one that I've just been super curious about, and I almost read earlier in the year, but I had too many audiobooks come in all at once from Libby, and I had to let this one go because I knew I wouldn't get to all of them. And I have regretted it ever since, because I was like, what if that was like my favorite book of the year and I didn't get a chance to read it? And that is The Husbands. And this is by Holly Gramazio. I don't even know how to describe this. I've been fascinated with this concept though, where like she goes into her attic or she sends her husband up to the attic, and every time he comes down, he's a different man. And like she just has this like series of different like husbands. And it's one of those like not quite a time loop, but kind of a time loop, kind of a story where like which of these men is the right husband for her. And it just sounds like such a weird, wacky good time, and I'm just sure that this is an Emily book. This has got to be for me. It just sounds like it's going to be for me, and I wanted a copy of it. I just have good feeling about it. I also got Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano, and I've been curious about this one because I've heard that it's a Little Women retelling. I know it's about sisters and their bond and some kind of rift or something happening to them, and it is the author's homage to Little Women. And Little Women is still, to this day, one of my absolute favorite books of all time. And I'm always interested in reading, like, other people's reimaginings and that sort of thing. Because I'm curious, like, what is the thing that stuck out to them about the book that they love it so much? So I don't really know too much more about it, though, besides that it's about sisters and it is an homage to Little Women. But that's really all I need to know. Two more. This one, I needed a new copy because mine had basically fallen apart, and I knew I was getting this because I pointed it out when we were out shopping, and I said, if you wanted to get me a book for Christmas, this might be a good option. And it is this beautiful illustrated edition of The Hobbit. I love when a book doesn't come with a dust jacket, because then I don't have to worry about the dust jacket getting ruined, because that's one of the things that went wrong with our original illustrated edition of The Hobbit. It's a different illustrated edition, and the dust jacket disappeared. I have no idea where it is. The spine had broken, the pages were coming loose, so like I really needed a new copy. Although it occurs to me now that I have this, I have no one to read this to anymore. All of my children are grown and have already listened to and loved The Hobbit, so this is just for me, I guess, to complete my collection of illustrated Lord of the Rings books. And then I also got this gorgeous book. This is The Illustrated World of Tolkien by David Day, and I love looking at Lord of the Rings art. Like, I am obsessed with Tolkien-inspired art. I just find it just visually gorgeous, but also I just love seeing the different interpretations of things. I'm a big fan. So, like, I always get a Lord of the Rings art calendar every year, and I don't know, I just like collecting the different art pieces and things, so I don't really have room in my house to hang art, but I have my calendars, and I like flipping through these books, and I just think they're beautiful, so I'm thrilled to have this in my collection. So these are all the books that I got in the month of December. Oh my gosh, it is quite the haul, but most of them are gifts, so they're basically free, right? So, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if any of these books are things that you have read or that you think I should prioritize. I also want to point out for my members to start thinking about it, the seasonal book club. We'll probably be reading one of those Christmas gift books because some of them are things that I'm like really interested in reading with other people. So perhaps one of those could be an option for our first read. Since it's seasonal, we need a winter read. More information on that will be coming to you soon, but if you're curious about that or think that sounds fun, you should check out my memberships. Join the Monster Squad. I have just opened memberships on my channel, and one of the perks is that you get to join my seasonal reading book club. We'll chat about it together in my Discord. We can do a live chat where you can talk to me like it's basically like a phone call, where you could put your face on screen if you wanted to, but you absolutely don't have to. And we'll talk about the book live together there. So definitely check that out if you're interested. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys. I don't know why I felt the need to lift that up again. I will see you guys in my next video. Happy reading and happy holidays. Bye!